Hello Brother Sewing community and welcome from Dubai. I hope you're enjoying our creative projects, and if you have, make sure you do click like and share our projects. My name is Teresa from Skills3 and I'm really happy to be here to share another project with you. Today we're really excited to bring you yet another easy and practical project. Not sure where you're tuning in from, but in Dubai we're heading back to school, heading back to the office and dining out and trying to gain some kind of normality. Now, restaurants are being really stringent with hygiene, cleaning the tables and everything else, but we ought to take some responsibility for how we also go out. And part of that is sustainability. In the bid to be hygienic and clean, restaurants have had no choice but to give the customers plastic cutlery. And that presents a massive problem environmentally and also on a sustainable level. That's massive amount of plastic every day being tossed into landfill, washed up on beaches, and possibly end up in the food chain for animals, which is an awful situation. So if you think about it, you go out in a family of 4, each of you get 3 pieces of cutlery, fork, knife and spoon, and then at the end of the meal, that's 12 pieces of cutlery that will end up in landfill. So what we're doing here is we're encouraging our Brother Sewing community to take a bit of responsibility for the way they dine out. And this is what our project is for today. Our very own cutlery roll, which doubles up as a mat. So when you're dining out, you'll feel a lot safer. So as you can see, what we have here, the cutlery roll opens out and has enough space to put on your plate and a bowl or your lunchbox. We have space for a straw, a fork, a knife, a spoon, spare slots in case you want to put more knives and forks, and a paper napkin or a cloth napkin. This is a cloth napkin. Once you've finished with your meal, you simply roll and go. We've monogrammed the front so that you can recognize your own cutlery roll, which is a great idea for kids to take responsibility of their own belongings, like so. And this just fits nicely into your bag. Keeps your bag clean from the dirty cutlery, but also keeps your cutlery safe. You can use monogramming for letters, or we put one here with the name Rebecca. It's up to you. There's so many choices. We do hope your Brother Sewing machines have been in good working order after lots of sewing over the summer. But if you need any help, whether it's with your machine functionality or any questions about any features, or if you're looking to upgrade your machine, please feel free to call the Brother Help Centre on 800 Brother. That's 800-276-8437. To make this nifty little cutlery holder, all you'll need is 2 pieces of fabric measuring 18 by 12, one for the outer and one for the inner. You'll also need a piece of fabric which is measuring 12 by 11, and that's folded in half, and that's for the cutlery divider. You'll also need an 8-inch length of elastic. This one is 1/4 inch, but it's up to you. You can choose 1/2 inch, whole inch, or even tubular elastic. For this project, we'll be using the Brother NV2600. This is a combination embroidery and sewing machine, which means that you can complete this project all on one machine. We've got the embroidery function here, and all the stitches are built in. You have got the capacity to add more if you like, but it's all in the machine otherwise. Then also you can stitch it on the same machine. So no longer needing to use a separate machine or compromise your embroidery. Once you've decided which bit of fabric is going to be your outer fabric, in this case I've chosen the blue polka dot. We'll need to embroider this with one of 11 fonts available. We embroider before we sew the whole cutlery roll together so that we make it a tidy finish. So I've hooped the fabric and I've marked the center or the area where I want to have the embroidery. I've chosen to put it in the center of the cutlery roll, and I've marked it with a chalk pencil, a little crosshatch where I'm going to position this. I've decided I'm making this for somebody with the initials SM. All I'll do now is take the hoop and attach it to the embroidery arm. It's a simple slide-in mechanism. Just slide it in and make sure you latch it down. If we move over to the computer screen, and it's all touch screen, so really intuitive and very easy to use, very similar to a mobile phone. You'll see on the front of the screen there are options for flowers, butterflies, embroidered fonts and personalization font and some borders. I'll be using the fonts. And I've looked here, there's quite a few options. We've even got some Japanese and Russian. I think I'll choose this one. And as I said earlier, I'm making this for somebody with the initials SM. So S is on the second screen. We'll use this button here, which is the arrow to go right, and there's S, uppercase, and go back for the M. That's SM. Right now it's on large, but I think medium could be much better. Small might be too small. So once I'm happy with that, I'll just press set. And once we're happy with that, with the letters on there, if you've got a long name, perhaps you want to check, but I've only got 2 letters, so that's pretty easy. So after that, we'll press edit end. I'm ready to go. Before I do that, I'm going to check the embroidery area that's all in the right place. First of all, there's a tracing button here, and it will just quickly scan the area. Let's have a look. And we'll see where it's going to go, and it's all in the right area. It's not entirely in the right place. In fact, I feel it's a little bit too high. So I'm using the arrows just to move the embroidery down until I'm happy. So what I want it to do is be more or less above the spot that I'm sewing. So let's go further down. And I think it's as far as it can go anyway, but it's exactly the right place. And I'm going to try and check one more time. Let's have a look. I would say it's in the right place. Once we're happy with that, we just press OK. Embroidery. We'll process it. First of all, you put the presser foot down. The button is red at the moment. When you put the presser foot down, it will turn the button green. This means it's ready to go. And all you'll do now is press a green button. I know that this embroidery will take 1 minute because it tells me on my screen here. So I'm going to press the button, ready to go. There we are. Very interesting to watch. Once the embroidery is finished, press OK, and you're ready to remove the hook from the machine. Just unlatch the hook, remove the embroidery frame, and we'll trim off a little stray thread. And the embroidery is finished. So we've tidied up the loose threads and taken off the hoop and turned the machine over to become a sewing machine. First of all, we'll attach the pockets on. What I've done here is take the smaller piece of fabric, which is 12 by 11, and folded it exactly in half. On here, I've also marked the spots for my cutlery, straw and napkin. I've decided I'm going to do 4 slots for cutlery. And it's up to you how wide you want to do them. I've done about 2 inches. So I've done 4, one for my knife, fork, spoon and teaspoon, and one also for my straw, and a slightly wider one for my napkin. So let's lay it down on this end here, like so. Pin it down. Doesn't move anywhere. This project doesn't need stabilizer because there's 2 pieces of fabric, and that will be quite stable enough. We'll move over to the machine. what I'm going to use here is just a regular straight stitch. One of the features I really like about the NV2600 is the ability to control the speed. Normally when you do a lock stitch, and we need the lock stitch to secure the edges of the pockets down, normally when you do a lock stitch, the lock stitch is hidden inside the seam. But on this occasion, you'll see your lock stitch, so you need to be nice and accurate. We can't have one longer than the other. So having the speed slide controller helps to give you total control over how you sew. So I'm going to add it onto here. I'm happy with the positioning. I'm going to drop the presser foot. Like so. A bit too further down. Then I'm going to put the needle in. I'm happy with this. Okay, so I'm going to go forward. Nice and slow. Then we're going to do the lock stitch. This is really important to secure the edges of the pocket. And the reason why we have the lock stitch is because the pressure that we put in to take the fork in and out, we want to make sure that at some point that the pockets will not fall off. So we reverse about 1 centimetre. So nice and slowly, as you can hear. And then we're going to go all the way to the very end. The chalk lines really do help, but if you're feeling brave, you can just wing it. Cut the thread with the automatic needle thread cutter, and then we're ready to go for the next line. Back under. Moving forward, reverse, lock stitch, all the way down to the end. Line number 2. And as you can see, the machine is really nice and quiet. You can talk over it even. So now we've got 3 slots so far. We'll continue on to the rest. So now I have all my slots ready. I've got one for my fork, knife, spoon, a straw, and a slightly wider one for my napkin. Always want to take the pins out, because when you turn it inside out, you don't want to be poked by a pin. So once you've got that, that's ready. Put your fabric right side to right side. You'll want to make sure that the embroidery part is towards the end. Down here like so. You'll also need to take your piece of elastic, and like I said, my elastic is 8 inches in length. I've used 1/4 inch. I've chosen light blue to match my cutlery roll. The little tip I have for you here is to make sure that the elastic is facing inwards. So you turn it the right way around, it's facing the right way. So I'm going to put mine round about here. I'm going to pin it into place, and that should, when I pull it out, the pin should also still be in the right place. Okay, so all we're going to do is sew all the way around, leaving a small space. That will be a turnout space. If you close it, that will be a cutlery roll. Put some pins in very quickly. So we sew around the customary 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance. What I'm going to show you here is when we go around the corner, we're going to use the pivot function. So you don't have to worry about losing the sharp corner, which is really essential to this project. So I'm going to start, let's see, I'm going to start where the turning point will be, and I've chosen to turn out on the side. So I'll lower my presser foot. You will need a lock stitch here. If you're turning something inside out, you want to make sure you don't burst the stitches open. So we'll get started. So we're approaching the corner now. And when we get to the corner, you could actually mark a dot there if you're nervous about the exact 1 centimeter. But I can pretty much eyeball the 1 centimeter, and I think I'm at the right spot. So my needle is in the right place already. Then I'm going to use the presser foot up. My needle is already in the fabric, which means if I mistakenly over rotate it or push it, it's not going to go sliding off. It means I can rotate or pivot and then put the presser foot down. I'm ready to go to the opposite corner. So reaching the opposite corner now, do exactly the same. I'm going to press it up. My needle's already in the fabric. I'm going to turn it to the right so that make sure that it's going to come towards you as opposed to the other way. If you turn it clockwise, what will happen is you'll be sewing off your project and you won't have a sharp corner. All the way on. A bit faster. Coming towards the elastic now, so I'm going to make sure that I don't hit the pin. Okay. I'm going to reverse over the elastic as well, just to reinforce it. And then at the corner, press the foot up, pivot, back down. Sew down halfway, and don't forget, leave a turning hole. You don't want to end up with a placement that's inside out. We want to make sure, so now we've got the rectangle with its nice sharp corners and a turning hole. We'll take the pins out. Before we turn it inside out, we make sure that we cut the corners to make it nice and slim, not bulky in any way. So let's cut the corner like so. So, repeat that on all 4 corners. So we've cut all 4 corners to reduce the bulk when we turn it inside out. All we do now is take the fabric through the turning hole. It takes a little bit more while to pull it out, but don't tug or yank it because you might end up ripping the hole open. And you'll see the dividers coming through. Take the chopstick or something with a pointed end, but not a knife or a pair of scissors. Just poke out the corners, make it nice and tidy in all 4 corners. And once you've done that, you'll want to press your mat to make sure that it's ready for the last part, which is a top stitch. Like so. As you can see, it's already taking shape. It looks pretty good. And we have the basics of the cutlery roll already, and that should work. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to go off the ironing board and I'm going to press that, so don't go away. So I'll iron the mat to make it nice and flat and ready to sew. All you'll be doing now is exactly what you did for the last step, which was sew all the way around. This time you'll sew right over the turning hole to complete it. Again, taking care that you turn the corners using the pivot function. I'm going to start. Where should I start? I'll start here. You can start anywhere really, it doesn't really matter. For the top stitch, what I would do is I would make it closer rather than wider. So I'll try and make it as close as I can. I would say around about 3/8 of a centimetre. 3 millimetres that is, I guess, not 3/8. 3 millimetres. Again, you want to do your lock stitch so you don't lose the stitches. And do a lock stitch. Very end. So approaching the corner now, we'll slow down and my needle should go in automatically. To the next corner. When you get to the pockets, just make sure the pockets are really flat because sometimes the press foot might sneak underneath and you'll get all tangled up. Also make sure your elastic is facing outwards and not flapping on the inside. You don't catch that. So the reverse of that is just to force it. Nearly there. And we're done. Okay, so we'll give that a quick trim. Just want to check out any loose white threads hanging around and get rid of those. And there we go. The cutlery roll is finished. Now we're going to stuff the cutlery roll. And I've got here a fork, knife and spoon. Also got a teaspoon. Inside here. I've got 2 bamboo straws. And I've got a space for my napkin. ready to roll. So you've had your meal here, and then on it once and twice. We've got the elastic just to hold it shut, like so. And that's the nifty little cutlery holder, complete with embroidery. This project, as you can see, was really easy to make. So roughly about half an hour or so. When you're making one, think about who else you can make one for. Maybe you can make one for your family, your friends. It makes a great teacher gift as well. It's come to the gifting season, so it's perfect. Start now and continue until you've made enough. You don't have to stop at using cotton. You can use other materials as well. If the person you're making for is a little bit messy, maybe like a young child, you can use shower curtain material. This was just repurposed from an old shower curtain that no longer was in use, so we gave it a second life. And this mat is wipe cleanable. All these mats are washable anyway, but this one just allows you to wipe off that absolute mess, so you can still just roll up and go. We do hope you've enjoyed the project, and if you have made one, please do share it with us at Brother MEA, and you can hashtag us at Brother MEA as well. We'd love to see your projects. In the meantime, please do keep on sewing, stay safe, keep sewing, and tune in for more tutorials coming up soon. We've got loads coming up, so please do stay tuned. Thank you.